Right, so I did a long gun and pistol sort of tier list of what I felt would be an appropriate tier system for them. And as with everything, there's no point leaving no stone unturned, so I'm going to go into armour. Same rules apply. Basically going to be looking at sort of like the top tier builds of what you can do with each build. Looking at its potential capability and what it's completely capable of mathematically, theoretically and objectively, as well as putting my own little personal touch and flair into it. However, if the set of armour that you really like wearing isn't where it is, same again, I couldn't give less of a damn. So, without further ado, let's get into this. So, we're going to start at the very bottom with D. We're looking at Adventurer, Litos and Bomber. Now, some of you might notice that Litos is on here twice. Bear with me. Adventurer and Bomber, simply because they don't really actually give you a buff in which to play the game. They are just chance to find stuff and increases teamwork stuff. There's not really much to them. Litos I will cover when I get up to the S tier, because there's a reason for it being in both. C tier. These are all kind of armours that start off pretty well or just are lackluster by endgame, such as Drifter and Cultist start off really well. By the time you get to sort of endgame and you're farming Apocalypse, they're basically useless. Akari, I've seen people be absolutely god tier with Akari, and there's like one person per frigging continent that uses it. So, yeah. Scavenger was the bitter disappointment from Subject 2923. It's not even really worth talking about. You pick stuff up, you get a buff, and the buff is nothing compared to so many other armors up there. B tier, Twisted. This is actually a pretty damn good set. However, it's completely overshadowed by the simple fact that the best thing about this set is the fact that it regens health passively, which we've also got rings that we do anyway. Like, the best way to really build Twisted is with Blood Font, Eslin's Band, and yeah, just become immortal on normal difficulty, and after that it's pretty much useless. Carapace is okay. It's pretty much poor man's Letos. It's also a lot harder to frigging get, and it doesn't really offer you much anyway. Bandit, it only really shines with Hive Cannon, Ricochet Rifle, and Pride of the Iskall. So although it really does shine with those weapons, and they're very powerful with those weapons, that's it. You move it outside of that and you're literally better off using any other armor. Elder set, very niche multiplayer armor set. I've seen people use this in solo and I don't understand why. It doesn't offer you anything until you take a Dragon Heart. So unless you're spamming Dragon Hearts. So again, I would say multiplayer only. A tier, starting out with Scrapper. This is really good for melee and shotgun builds, more so shotgun builds, because melee builds are something else at the moment. But again, it's a 30% damage buff to enemies within 5 meters. That's a hell of a hit. Void, I actually personally don't like how Void works at the moment. I don't like the complete 25% flip. I preferred it when it did it 5% by 5%. However, I do love the fact that it affects all damage. That's 25% to all damage. I think it's brilliant. Hunters has had a hell of a buff and it is looking absolutely beautiful. I'm really enjoying Hunter builds at the moment, especially more than Slayer builds, because I still find Slayer to be very limited. As well as they used to be like the best builds going, or the go-to builds for Apocalypse, and I just find that Slayer builds have now slipped, and the more automatic rapid fire DPS builds are definitely overshadowing and taking in their place, which leads us into S tier. Radiant, the crit beast, can't really argue with it. Osseous can also be a crit beast, scales higher. If you don't know the difference between the two, I have done a video on this, but basically if the enemy's got a lot of easy to access weak points, go Osseous. If the enemy doesn't have a lot of easy to access weak points, go Radiant. Radiant is a steeper increase, but then flatlines a lot heavier, where Osseous can go higher than Radiant, but it will fluctuate a lot more. Then there's Labyrinth. Who doesn't like doing like 12,000 damage a hit? Honestly, Labyrinth is just stupid at the moment. Right, on to the questions then. Leto. Very, 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 very strong. However, it can also get you completely screwed over immediately. If you're like me, you like that little stagger when you get hit to make your brain register. I've been hit, I should move away and heal. Leto's doesn't have that, and it can just become a bit of a problem. And if you're not used to it, or don't know what you're doing with it, or just throwing it on because giggles, it can get you killed. Right, now for the next burning question. Why have I got Warlord to strap down that side? Simply because Warlord offers the largest damage buff in the game. More than anything, it's 40%. Problem is, it comes at the cost of life. So I have basically stretched it from S to B tier because it's probably one of the most skill intensive and build defining armors in the game. You're going to get a hell of a damage buff, but you're also going to slowly die. Yes, you can heal yourself pretty easily while under this effect, but it's great risk versus great reward, literally, in an armor set. It is very, very powerful, but it's very easy to kill yourself with it. So it really is just going to depend on your capability, what trinkets you have available to you, what up weapons you're going to pair it with. If you're playing online or solo, I prefer playing solo with it. I don't really use it online because you could have 10 seconds left and one of your lovely allies goes and just takes that last enemy, kills it, and yeah, you just, although they can revive you, it's just annoying. It's not really a thing you want. Anyway, that is going to bring this video to an end. I do hope you enjoyed it. I will be doing a melee build one, but in the meantime, have fun, good luck, and don't die. It's bad for the health.